Remember back to your childhood. If it was anything like mine, you enjoyed climbing. Climbing trees, climbing the woodshed behind your grandparents' house. At some point or another, you enjoyed climbing. Well, now in our adult lives, we all have some kind of physical activity that we enjoy doing. Well, some of us get bored with these activities, and it has been shown that if you change up your routine, you're more likely to continue physical activity. Well, rock climbing that has been transformed into this recreational sport, has been shown to be a healthy alternative that, when implicated into your routine, would be a good way to help you continue to stay fit and continue your physical activity. Many people have some sort of activities that they like to do, some kind of weightlift training or bicycling that they enjoy doing, something that was manifested from some type of activity they enjoyed doing as a child through their adolescent years. By incorporating rock climbing into your routine, it can attribute to fun and healthy hobbies and keep you in shape, test you both mentally and physically. Rock climbing can be a very beneficial thing for anyone. From clubs to gyms to the great outdoors, it can make staying in shape fun and enjoyable. Now today, I'm going to talk to you about the history of rock climbing, what it has to offer, along with the pros and cons, why I personally like rock climbing, and why it can be a safe and alternative activity for you to continue your healthy lifestyles. Now, a little into the history of the sport. It isn't really known who started or created this sport. It was founded exactly more so by a group or a demographic. Traced back to mountaineering and mountain climbing, we didn't always have the same means of transportation that we do now with all the commodities of trains, planes, and automobiles. While people used to trek over mountains, it was never an easy task. Supposedly, it all started with sheep farmers who had to herd their cattle, their sheep, through the mountains. From there, it was a slow transition through history and ever-evolving means of transportation. They created gear and tips to better tackle these vast trails through the mountains and the wild. Now, we don't know for sure, but in the mid-1700s, a couple Frenchmen pronounced the sport, but clubs didn't come into effect until another 70 plus years later. What didn't start out as a club or a traditional sport like anything else, it has evolved and created an alternative, fairly inexpensive means of healthy exercise. Over time, the sport became more safe at first. There was no supports, just them and the rock face, man versus wild. Gear was developed later to help give a safer experience to the climber. Now, there's many different things to help you stay safe out there climbing. You have your shoes. There's many different kinds of shoes. It can be very inexpensive, from $20 to $80, all for used shoes. You have chalk bags, not necessarily going to keep you safe, but if you get very sweaty palms, it helps keep your hands dry while you're climbing. You have harnesses. Harnesses is probably the most important part of your gear. It's going to help keep your rope attached to you depending on what kind of climbs you're going to do. You have all of your carabiners, or which your hooks, which you need out there. They have locks on them, which helps add more support to your gear. Make sure that you have plenty of everything, because if you have one of a carabiner and it breaks on you and you're out climbing out in the wild, then you're stranded. You're not prepared. You also have your anchors. Anchors help keep you to the ground, so that if you're belaying or you're a spotter for somebody else that's climbing, it helps keep you to the ground. So if they were to fall, it would catch your weight if they were to unbalance, if they were to fall. Also, you have rope. Rope isn't always necessary depending on what kind of climbing you're going to do. There's a lot of different types of climbing. And always make sure that you're keeping up on your gear, making sure that everything is tuned and ready to go. Along with a healthy history and strong opinions are many pros to rock climbing, and always cons. Rock climbing can be very fun and competitive. It can teach teamwork and how to trust one another. It can be a great way to exercise and stay healthy. It is a very demanding sport that requires respect from the climbers, because if you don't practice safe behavior and you keep yourself conditioned, things can go wrong very fast. There are a few charts that I found. In this one, it shows that the leading cause of accidents is from the leader falls. So it's user error. That is where the biggest problem comes from, is from the person. So a lack of training or whatever it may be, or conditioning. Also, here's a chart that shows accidents, fatalities, and people injured. Greatest from the worst at the bottom all the way to the top at the least greatest. And these are studies done between 1998 to 2010 for the what kind of accidents are caused, and then fatalities, injured, and accidents from 1951 to 2013. So very recent. So along with all these, I enjoy rock climbing because it's a way for me to express myself, to teach other people something that they didn't know. I enjoy rock climbing, and I want it to show other people that there are other alternatives to working out. And if you practice a safe and healthy means of rock climbing, it can be very beneficial to you.